Hi, I'm Dr. Jeffrey Fannin, and we are having another episode today of Soul Science. And welcome to this edition of Soul Science.
And I'm Pamela Ann Ezell, and we're going to help you understand more specifically how you can be able to rapidly apply quantum physics into your daily life to bless you. So I'm going to share a story because the way I teach is through stories. And through stories, it isn't just through words, but through example, actually applying these things. This is how you allow it to activate in your life and be your blessing rapidly. And Jeff, don't you agree that you can rapidly be able to tap into this and just take a long time? Come on.
If you'd asked me weeks ago, I would have said, well, some people can probably do that. I don't know how, but I don't believe that anymore, and amazing things have been happening to me very quickly. And we'll talk about those in a little bit here, but I'm a real believer now.
And you were saying, well, how can a 3-year-old do this? It's like you can really be able to dial it in very rapidly. And anyone that is associating with me for any length of time, like even an hour, like even in China, within the hour, they were commanding miracles. They were having revelations and visions and miracles in their life within the hour. And they didn't even know about the divine. It was stripped out of their culture for generations. And so that's how I can so confidently say, you can do it. You can allow it to happen.
I was pretty skeptical about that, and wondering, coming from old paradigms and stuff. And so some of the things we talked about and that you taught me, and then I was saying yes to, and we'll talk about a bunch of those things. But I've had so many things happen the last several days, and especially today. And I want to wind up our session today and talk about what kind of experience that I had, because you can't write this stuff. It is real life.
For sure. There's no way I could come up with all these examples just coming out of my head. I mean, this is the real deal.
Yeah,
this is the real deal. This is really happening. And people are like, blow your hair back. I was saying at one time, people are like, they feel chills. They have tried to express it, but it's like a total body experience. And that's how you know for certain that you've tapped into this other dimension, this divine ability to have come through your body to bless you with every single thing you'd like to have, and to have it happen really rapidly. So I'm going to share with you. I've had pretty much every life experience you could possibly think of, and it's always been my blessing because it helps me understand the people that I'm creating with, working with, so that I have compassion and love and patience for their learning curves that are going on with them, and not feel like I've got to fix them, change them, prop them up. They have the ability to do it. They have the ability, and I'm not supposed to go in and take away that learning curve, because then they're always looking for somebody outside of them to fix them and change them when it's coming from actually within. Don't you agree that it's literally an internal thing?
Yeah, I probably would have had a different point of view a while back, and wondering, well, how does she do this? You tell me the stories, I read them in your book and stuff. It's like, well, that's nice, but that's not my experience. And so how do you do it? But today I know how you do it, and it had happened to me again and again and again, and so it's like, okay, I think I'm starting to get the hang of this.
Yeah. And when I say they got your back, what do you think, bro?
Absolutely, they got your back. And even more so, they're like, everybody's sitting on this big chessboard, and they're like 5 moves ahead of you, before you even think it, it's done,
Right. And because you are commanding and creating with living gods, you can see now, I think you can understand why I say I don't send it up to the universe. I connect it with living gods because they answer you specifically, but they add the bells and whistles. And you got some bells and whistles today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just as a story, and I know we told the meatball story, I told the meatball story, and people were like, meatballs. And the point of that was how rapidly that formed for me. for my husband and I to just bless us, because what I didn't share is usually when we're at these great big board meetings that we go to, it's usually our anniversary. So for me to say, can we just have a dinner together? I was like, and then how they blessed us with that. Well, I also shared at that time too that they will bless you with the big stuff as well. The big stuff, the stuff that's like, you know, you're like, how am I even going to have a roof over my head kind of stuff? That kind of stuff that you'd stay awake nights worrying about it. And so what I had done at this particular time that I'm going to share with you is I had liquidated all of our beachfront properties, our homes in the mountains, our homes in the city, our house boats, or, you know, humongous boat thing. I liquidated everything because I knew that our last home would be in the mountains. It would be a healing center. It would be a vortex. It'd be this amazing place. And I could feel it was time. So I desired to liquidate everything, because for me to go and be doing that up in the mountains and maintaining all these homes, it would be like ridiculous. And these homes were amazing homes that were even published in magazines and everything else of what I had created and stuff. So they were like resorts. They were resorts. Some of them were in resorts and some of them were resort homes. So, and I was fine with it because I'd always told my husband I could be happy living in a tent. I could be happy living in a tent because my happiness does not come from the things that I have or the homes that I live in. If my relationship with the divine was where it's supposed to be, and my relationship with other people in my life were where it's supposed to be, that is where my happiness really is initiated. So I liquidated everything, and we built some other businesses, and I chose to live in a little construction trailer in Tucson so that I could be able to load up materials and things and take it up to the mountains and start developing this amazing creative space that the divine brought to me right away, so that I could also have my service animals be able to run free and run around and have a safe environment for them to be in until I would take them up to the mountains and be with me up there. And there wasn't a lot of trailer courts that would accommodate large animals like that and have it a fence safe area that would be enough for them to roam around in and have a happy life, because that's important to me as well. So I happened to share this at the dinner table, and literally at the dinner table, there was a girl that was there. It was friends and family, and she spoke up and she said, "Oh my gosh, my father-in-law," her husband was with her, "my father-in-law has a place that he rents for people that will accommodate a trailer, and his rental person just moved out." I stopped everything. I said, "Okay, pack up, come on, we're gonna go see it right now." Because really, when that downloads in you, that's that little take action moment. And it isn't a forcing or making, but it's like when you get the memo, you act upon it. And so we went over there. It was perfect, absolutely perfect. And our rent was only $180 a month.
No
So
way.
it's like, yeah, only $180 a month with some, some utilities, but that was nothing. And so because of the space and everything, I'm a major gardener. I love to garden. And so it's surrounded in gardens. It's beautiful. And I can remember, I was hoping my husband was going to be okay with this because he's used to living in, opulence. And I can remember him going to work one day and turning and looking at me and seeing this place covered in flowers and beauty, and it just this calm, wonderful place, and looking at me and saying, "Thank you for making our home so beautiful." And I literally did live in a tent. And people were saying, "Is your wife going to be okay living in a tent?" Because they've seen how we live. And he said, "She's always said she'd be fine." And I literally was living in a tent as I was divining out where the wells would be, because the divine tells me everything. And I found where the well would be. They told me how deep it would be. We hit water the first time, and cutting in roads and putting all that together. And I was so, so happy. I was so absolutely thrilled with being able to have that experience and being so close to the earth. So anyway, so what have you been going through, bro? Because it's been pretty wonderful.
Well, I'm not exactly quite sure where to start.
Yeah.
One of the things, you were talking about your living situation, and we've been talking about, changes in mine and what I can do. And, so the place that I'm living now, been here about 2.5 years. And I mean, it's not a bad place, but I would rather be somewhere else. And because she put me on this lease where I had to pay like 3 months in advance, which is a little odd, but I've been that way for 2.5 years now. I was able to pay like 1 month, and I said, I'm doing some things, and the money is coming in. I just don't have it in my bank account right at the moment. And so, as I was looking at that situation and talking about things and thinking, okay, we're starting this research project, and it's not scheduled to start paying for a few weeks, but what if I just ask? So in that space of expecting and asking, and really having a desire to have that happen. And this happened in the space of maybe 5 minutes, 7 minutes, something like that. So I typed out a text to the person I was working with and said, here's the situation. This is what I'm looking for. Would you be able to pay something early on this project? And so she came back and said, how much are you looking for? So I put the number in there and sent it back. And she texts back, said, let me check the numbers. And 2 minutes later, she texts me again and says, no problem. How about if we put it in your PayPal account? And so it's like, okay, what do you need from me? She says, I need the address of that. And so I give her the address, and about a minute later, get a text back that says, paid, done, big smiley face, It's like, holy mackerel. And then,
Yeah.
right after that, it's like, you and I had talked, it was like, okay, well, I'm going to go do some errands, and you go do what you do, and we'll get connected up here this afternoon. So I was off getting ready to take care of some errands, and was driving actually to go to Sprouts. And so I had made a left turn onto a main thoroughfare, but there wasn't quite enough space because they were doing some road work on the side. And so I cut it just a little bit too close. And so my tire hit the curb and a little bit. And so, I felt the bump and thought, oh my, that wasn't just a little bump, I was a little bit careless there. So then I'm driving a couple of blocks and hearing this noise. It's like, I wonder if I have a flat tire. So I'm looking in my rearview mirror, and I can see pieces of the tire hanging out.
Oh,
well, this
oh my gosh.
So I get to Sprouts,
Oops.
go in the parking lot, and looking at torn a gash like 2/3 of the way around the tire,
Oh.
and these are good tires. These are like Michelin tires, and I drive, a Cadillac Escalade, so they ain't cheap,
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there, and then I thought, okay, well, let me call my insurance, and I do have a spare. It's a brand new spare, and they should just be able to change it. So they called. They sent the guy out to change the spare, and I had looked underneath where the spare is kept, and you could tell it's a brand new tire. But the guy gets there and he says, I can't change the spare because it's too old. I said, what do you mean it's too old? It's brand new. It's never been used. He said, well, it's a tire from 2013, and our policy is they won't let us put that old of a tire on the car. It's like, really? He says, you're going to have to get towed somewhere else. I said, oh, okay. How long is that going to take? And so I'm talking with this guy, and he doesn't speak English very well. And so I said, look, can I talk to a supervisor? Because I'm having a hard time communicating with you, and so he says, okay. And then he puts me on hold, and I'm sitting there for like 10 or 15 minutes on hold. And I'm thinking, this is interesting. What I would rather do is talk to somebody that can get this resolved. So then
you put out that intention. You put out that intention. Okay.
I did. I put out that intention. And so I get a phone call. It's the same guy again, and this time he's being very careful of his language. And so we're able to communicate a little bit better. Now, they had charged me to come and do the service where they were going to change the tire. they charged me like $85. Then he was trying to charge me another $102, for the towing service. I said, wait a minute. What I would rather see is something different. What I would rather see is to be able to take the 85 I've already paid you and apply it towards 100. Oh, well, we can't do that. That's not our policy. I said, if you think about it, you might be able to find a way to do that. So he said, let me put you on hold. So he comes back after about a minute. He said, okay, I'm going to apply that to you owe me another $17 to make up the difference. So I said, fine. And so he got his $17. The guy showed up with the tow truck, very quickly, took the vehicle, got me to the tire place. They looked at the tire, and they have the device where they can scan the depth of the tire and the tread and all of that. And so everything is online, which is very cool, because we'll have a talk about scanners at a later date here. But
yeah,
I'm really into the technology of how that all works. So anyway, they look at that. And so the guy would go back in the office and he says, okay, you only have two choices here. Now, the first choice is you can replace the tire, but when you originally bought these tires, and I bought them back in 2018, and he said, you didn't buy the protection package that usually goes with that. I said, oh, well, I had no idea. He said, but you didn't buy those. He said, so option A is it's $124 if you do that, or if we go option B, no, it wasn't 125, I forget what the number was. But anyway, he said option B is you can replace the tire, and for $2 extra, we will give you a protection plan on all 4 of your tires. I said, I'll take option B. So yeah, so I got the tires about $125 cheaper than I would have, and replaced the tire, got the protection package on all 4 tires. They said it'll be about an hour. So I walked across the street to Applebee's and sat down, had some lunch, and just waited for them to text me. So they texted me when they said it would be ready, walked back over, got my vehicle, got in it, drove home. And just as I'm pulling out of the parking lot, you called me.
It's really wonderful, because what happened is you kept your portals open to receive. Yeah. And you were putting out clearly what you would prefer. But yet, instead of slamming on your brakes and slam the door shut on it, you stayed relaxed, you stayed open, you stayed receptive. And this is what makes the difference. Yeah. You kept that jiggy feeling of hopefulness and appreciation, and all of this starts forming and coming to you. And what you didn't know, and I'm going to tell you now, is that we were supposed to meet at 1:00, right? And start doing this podcast. And I was looking at the fact that there was a couple things that popped up that I was supposed to take care of. And there was no way I could comfortably make it at 1:00. So I had desired to push it back a little. And so I could be able to take care of these onesie, twosie things that was important, and still have this relaxed time for me to have things to drink and refreshments to eat and things. And I was sending out that same encouragement for you to have the same thing happen for you, so that when we did get together, we would be able to enjoy this time. Because Jeff, you know that when we're downloading this and we're in tandem with each other, and this is coming through, that we're being blessed every bit as much as anybody else who is seeing this podcast. And they can see that we're happy, that we're relaxed, that we're enjoying it. And we have real lives like everybody else.
Yeah. So when all of that was happening, and I text to you, because I was sitting outside of Sprouts waiting for the tow truck driver to arrive. And so what I did is I went in and I texted you and I said, I'm utilizing Sprouts, and I'm sitting here eating some wonderful oatmeal and cranberry cookies while I'm waiting. As soon as I finished the very first one, the tow driver pulled up.
Yeah, it's
how cool is that?
layering. this layering of love and affection and support. And this is like helping and protecting you for future stuff that you were unawares of. But they were aware of it. And so they were allowing this to happen, knowing that I would like a breath of time. You would appreciate a breath of time to get these things organized, and we would still be able to come together and accomplish everything we desired. So we have plenty of time and more to accomplish everything we desire in our lives,
Yeah, and I think that
especially
one
when you
thing,
tap in.
yeah, what I was going to say is, while all of that's happening on your end, my end, but there was the flow. You could feel the flow of things, and I didn't have to know every single detail. It's just like, all right, this is all going to work out. This is going to be fine, even though it wasn't
Yeah,
what I had planned or what I wanted or whatever. But there was this energy, this feeling, this flow, which I, would feel I felt in the past times, but not like this. The
yeah,
question of the energy, and it wasn't a lot of details like this is going to happen next, and this and this and this. It was just like everything's going to be cool, just relax.
yeah.
So holding the zone, holding the space was the most important thing for me. Those could have been very stressful situations, but they weren't. It didn't feel stressful. It's just like,
Mhm.
well, go with the flow. So I didn't have to,
Right.
okay, I want you to do this and I want you to do this. I'll be in charge now. So you listen to me and you do what I want you to do. There was none of that going on,
Uh-huh.
you know?
We're going to share that information. I'm glad you said that, because in future we're going to talk about four-letter words and how they can just stop your progress because they're coming from a place of lack. And that's not what was happening today. It was not filled with want, need, fear, worry, any of those four-letter words. It was talking about what you desire, what you prefer, and then this feeling of being relaxed and allowing it to form. Another thing, too, that I really loved about what was happening for both you and I is that this is what I share with people before they come for training. And you're well aware of how I share this with the people that come for training with me, is that to be well rested, to be well hydrated, and to be nourished with protein loaded foods, to wake up that interior gyrate portion of your brain, to really open up your vessel, your physical vessel to receive. And so when people are watching these podcasts, if they really would like to just wring out all the juiciness of it, be well rested, be well hydrated, have something to eat, so your physical body is not going to impede your ability to just soak this stuff up and be able to take it and utilize it. So just a little
Yeah.
touch the
And I
base.
think, for my day, it started last night and I slept very well, felt well rested when I woke up this morning, had a great breakfast, was really hydrated when I was ready to go, and
Mhm.
so uh, I was kind of following that agenda, not because, oh, well, this is what I should do, it's because this is what I want to do. This is what I
Yeah,
prefer
it's
to
what you
do. And have,
yeah, really desire.
yeah, having a
Hmm.
real desire to take that on. And my head was clear, feeling rested, being able to stay in the flow of things.
The other thing is, as part of what's also associated with that, is when two or more are gathered together and we're tapping into this, the synergy of it and the power of it is enhanced.
Yeah,
So as the divine starts to flow in, we start receiving that divine energy, that godly energy
yeah,
in our physical being. And we are as blessed as anyone listening to these podcasts. So it's like there's this joy, this genuineness. It's nothing is forced, nothing is trying to be like crammed down anybody's throat. It is just this flowing and allowing to happen for everybody's mutual uplift. So that's why I love doing these things, because I am nourished as much as anybody else is, and so appreciative of it. So appreciative of it. So and
yeah,
that's what we were doing. Even when you went to Applebee's, and even when I was doing things, because I was told, hey, bring this with you to your office. And so I was having everything that I teach other people to do. I was making sure I was doing it, because why? Because we were honoring our vessels. We were honoring these bodies so there wouldn't be a wrestling inside of us between our body and our spirit. That's that, that harmony within your own body. Because a lot of times people, if they take a scan and say, how am I feeling now, they feel a wrestling inside, and that means they're not really honoring their bodies and their spirits. They're not one within themselves, and if you're not one within yourselves, it's pretty difficult to open up to receive more.
Yeah, I think what you said is really true. Having the awareness and paying attention to your awareness. In one of the last episodes, I think you were talking about setting an alarm so that you will, every 30 minutes or an hour, whatever, so that when that ping goes off, that you're taking just a second, scanning your body and saying, where am I? What am I feeling right now? Recalibrating, if you will. And that's another talk that I have for another day is what are we recalibrating? And so we'll talk about those kinds of things. I think it's important that we are not only aware, but we'll take stock in that, throughout the day, that it's not at the end of the day go, whoo, what a day, I'm glad that's over, but throughout the day, being aware of what it is and where we are, and am I in the vibration that I want to be, that I can be, that I should be, and then, okay, if I'm not, then to do something about it.
And it's very quick. It's very quick and simple. So it's not like you've fallen down the rabbit hole and thrown in the shovel with you. You have to try to dig your way out, and there's no ladder or anything. You're like clawing your way to try to get out of it. No, if you just make the simple little adjustments, wow, what a difference for the quality of your life and the rapidness in which you can be able to command and see those blessings flowing into you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's take our boat down to the river, put it in, and I'm going to start paddling as fast and as hard as I can going upstream, and then wondering, why am I getting so tired? And then the thought comes in, well, just go with the flow. And people say, well, how do you do that? Just stop paddling, for heaven's sakes. And then it turns the boat around and you just start going down with the flow. And that's what I was doing today. I wasn't going to paddle harder and faster to try and make something happen. I was just going to go with the flow, and just allow.
Yeah. And we just talked about that, I think, Monday. You and I talked about that on Monday. And now you're applying it and you're seeing the joy of it, the ease of it. And everything just came together for you. So we'll have a podcast specifically on that and why that is so important to allow that to form in your life. The other thing is I'd like to dovetail back where you're talking about chakras, and especially the sacral chakra and actually the root chakra as well. Try to say that 10 times fast. Anyway, it's because a lot of people don't understand the importance of these chakras, and that if they are not open, especially those two lower ones, that is where your ability to draw up the wealth of the earth comes into your experience. So if those are shut down, if those are out or shut down or partially closed down, you cannot draw in the wealth. And the wealth is beyond money, but it is definitely money. And it will come into your life more readily. And those two chakras are your creative centers in your vessel, in your body.
I think the other day we talked about, the sacral chakra, and how when that is attuned to the universe, that you're sending coherent energy and it's traveling at the speed of light squared, But what I really want to mention here is the synergy between the root and the sacral chakra, the harmony that in that flow of energy from the root chakra dealing, with the fundamentals of life and things like that, and your safety, your security, your livelihood, all of those things, like you say, if those are pinched off, that you're not going to get the full effect, that it's not going to function the way that it should. Right. And so it's about, like you say, making sure that your root and your sacral chakra are open so that that portal can have information going out and information coming in, and being able to utilize that in a coherent way. Yeah, so today's episode has been on being able to understand how things happen so quickly and sharing some stories, that are from our own lives and things that have happened. We didn't just sit down and write these up. These are things that really happened, and for you, those of you watching this today, for me, that happened to me today, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I marvel at that, and look at how it felt and what can happen in each of our lives if we are allowing this to come in and we begin to command the power of what's there. And it just is so thrilling, so exciting. And then to watch it unfold, to be standing in the middle of it when it actually does unfold, the feeling there is so stupendous. I have no words to express it. And I know you know what I'm talking about.
I do. I definitely do. Even with that, everything was so perfectly orchestrated because I have so many fabulous things that are happening to me on a regular daily basis, and I was somewhat behind on capturing that. And I like to be able to record that, and just that space of time that I was granted while you were having these other things cared for your specific desires. I was able to record all of that for four things, one, two, three, four, actually eight things. I was able to record all that to be able to capture it for the blessing of others to be able to savor and to enjoy and to incorporate for them to experiment in their life. So I felt that we were both being greatly blessed today. And the other thing is because we allowed ourselves to flow with it and be nourished with it, then when we go and we share this, you can feel, if you're in the audience, you can allow yourself to open up. You can viscerally feel in your cells of your body our sincerity, our genuineness coming through, because we are connected and we're coming through to be able to basically testify of the truth of what it is for them. It's for your truth of those
Yeah.
that are listening to these podcasts. Sometimes truly it's because we've kind of numbed down so much trying to shield and protect ourselves from the concerns of the world and how maybe we might be judged or how maybe we might have fear or trust issues and things. And we have literally numbed down our feelings. But however, our feelings are our perfect compass, our perfect guide, if we're headed in the direction we prefer or not. So if we have shut down our feelings, then it's shut the portals for us to fully receive. So if you're not getting it, if you're not feeling it, allow yourself to take some time through meditation or whatever it is that you desire to be able to connect with something greater than this world, to open up your feelings, to fully receive. Because like I say, I feel this ripple of joy, happiness, bliss, nirvana, whatever you'd like to explain it as, ripple through my body every single day. And you can correct me if I'm not speaking clearly with you, Jeff, but I think you can agree that once you've tasted it, you don't desire anything less. When you really felt this for the first time, as deeply as you're feeling it now, that it is your greatest treasure.
It's hard to put that into words, but once you feel it, you know it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't really have mortal words to explain how magnificent it is. It's supposed to be that way. Because if we can explain it exactly the way it is, then why have the other people really search for it? Because it's like, oh, okay, well, that's how it is. We're supposed to be flawed in not having that ability to totally explain it. Because really, it's kind of like what we're teaching is like there's universities and things that teach you, there's different schools, kindergarten, the grade school, high school, college, but there are graduate courses that are being taught, and they're taught by the divine.
Right.
So that's why all religions, all parents, all leaders, governments, everything is supposed to be flawed. So you seek for more because they cannot provide you everything. And it's supposed to be like that. So you seek for that connect. I'm just basking in it. I can't say too much more because right now I'm just really basking in it and appreciating it. And I'm appreciating that we can share it with one another, but we can share it with everyone else, and that they also can have it readily as well. So thank you, Jeff, for taking the journey with me.
It is so wonderful, and everybody can join with us in that. And we're so glad that you could watch this segment of Soul Science, and look forward to having you join with us in other segments in the future. Thanks.
If you find this information uplifting and encouraging, share it with others. It might be precisely what they're looking for. And consider pressing that subscribe button below so that you will always be included in these inspiring podcasts that have been especially created for you, so that you will know how to be able to rapidly apply these scientific laws that are also eternal laws, and be able to command your will with such precision that you can put a date on it.